In this episode, we want to focus on a topic under secret of covenant. I mean, under secret of covenant. The subtopic is God is not to be blamed. God is not to be blamed, or God is not to blame. God is not to blame, or God is not to be blamed. It depends on anyone you want to use. Yes, of course, God is not to blame. Nobody can blame God. Whatever happening to your life, no one can blame God. God is ever constant. In the side of God, He doesn't shift goalposts in the course of football. I told you in the definition of covenant that there are two people are involved in covenant: the covenantor and the covenantee. God is the covenantor, then the other party, which may be you or me, are the covenantee. So the covenantor has the advantage in his own side. The covenantee is the other party that is disadvantaged. So when the covenantee subscribe rather to the agreement between him and the covenantor, then they share the same benefit. So in the side of God, God can never be blamed to whatever that is happening to any man. So in the covenant, if covenant is not working for you, then who should be blamed? It shouldn't be God, because God cannot be blamed. So that is our focus under the secret of covenant. But I want to enter the teaching. Before I go to the nitty-gritty of the teaching, I want to enter through a Bible passage which is 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 5. 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 5. Then after defining, I want to do some justice. I want to do justice to that Bible reference. Then we enter into nitty-gritty of the teaching. That is 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 5. Then I want to compare two scriptures together. I will use two scriptures to scripture. When I say scriptures, I mean two versions of scriptures together for better understanding about God is not to blame. Here I will compare King James Version with Amplified Version together. So the King James Version will give us the normal quote of the Bible reference. Then I will just cross to Amplified Bible Version. Then it will make it clearer and break it down the mind of the writer, which is God. In 2 Timothy chapter 2 here, verse 2, 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 5. And if a man also strive for mastery, yet is not crowned, except he strive lawfully. Then let me read in Amplified Bible Version. And if anyone enter into competitive game, is not crowned, except he complete lawfully, fairly, according to the rule laid down, that is, of the game. What are we saying here? This is just illustration or description of a sportsman. It's talking about a sportsman, either an athlete or let me say a runner or a football person or an handball player. He say, if a man strive for mastery, you may not understand very well in King James, yet is not crowned. You may not understand very well, except he strive for lawfully. But in Amplify, if anyone be a sportsman, enter into competitive game, that means be a sportsman. If you're a sportsman, maybe you're a footballer, you enroll yourself in footballer and you have been doing well. Doing well does not determine that you are going to win the game, that you win the prize, so to speak, that you are doing well, that you are playing well, that you are competent, that you are skillful, does not automatically guarantee that you are going to be a winner or you are going to be receive the prize. But what's the condition? Or may I say, here he say he's not crowned. What are we looking for? Or what a football man is looking for is to be crowned. No, the day you will be celebrated, decorated, given the cup, the trophy, and then what have you? Especially money. It's not the money will not come, the crown will not come, the price will not come, except it complete lawfully. The word lawfully is the heart of this Bible reference. The word lawfully, fairly, and according to the rule. Let me take lawfully first. Lawfully, fairly, and according to the rules of the game. Rules laid down simply mean rules of the game. Simply mean, let me tell you. A footballer who is good in playing on the field, in fact, it's a very popular one, can be disqualified if he doesn't play well. How? If you go against the rule of the game. I will read it for you in this Bible, in the book with me. If you go against the rule of the game, you may be penalized or disqualified. No, many of us profess to be covenant practitioners. Many of us profess to be doers of the word. But many says, I said it in the previous episode, I have done everything and nothing was working. Well, you try to do what you know to do, but you have not done the right thing. If you don't do the right thing, you can never get the right result. So God is not to blame. If an athlete does not win, he can play well, but he doesn't win the game because he doesn't follow the rule. I will read it to you here. If he doesn't follow the rule, or he refuses to follow the rule, or he doesn't know the rule of the game, then he'll be penalized. Who is to be blamed? Not the coach, not the referee, not the viewers. You understand? But the player. That is why the focus for this episode is God is not to blame. Let me start reading from the book. I told you the teaching of covenant, this teaching of covenant is taken from one of my books. I said God has helped me to write several books, which this secret of covenant is one of them. So I'm going to read from the same book now as we move on. Let us look at the rule of a football game. In a football match, the rule of football is that nobody should play the ball with his or her hand. Anybody who uses his hand has broken the rule, and such team will be penalized, and the other team will take advantage of the foul. I think that is clear enough. A football match, you don't play with your hand. So if you play with your hand, then you are not playing lawfully. You might have been watching football or being a lover of football. At times, a player may score. Then when referee take time to watch thoroughly, particularly this time around that we are in the era of digital or computer, they may take some minutes now and view the event. So when they discover that the ball has touched the hand of the man that scored, then they disqualify the goal. Many have been disqualified. Why? Because they have done it, but they didn't do it lawfully. Even in a handball competition, the rule is that you must not use your leg to play. Rather, doing so, you attract foul to your team. Rather, there are some foul. There are some foul that attract card. It depends on the gravity of the foul committed in the match. It may be yellow or red card. The yellow card is to warn you, and the red card is to say, go out. We don't want you in this match again. I think that is very clear. Many have been given warning. You know, they prove to know some things in the Bible, and they did a little thing they know, but they didn't do the right thing. They don't get the right result. So the man that touched it will be given yellow card. After yellow card, red card. Let me read on. Now, you see that in the race of Christianity, many have been disqualified due to disobedience and failure to follow the rules of the game. In our illustration, we will understand that it is not the person that commits vows that is affected, but it affects the entire member of the team. Can you see that? Only one person can destroy the team due to his attitude on the pitch. So many minister, pastor, prophets, or evangelists who break the rules of the game bring problem to himself, and not only him, but also to the member of his church. I think pastor listening to me will take note of this very well. When you, as the leader of the team, commit vow, it will affect everyone. Then, if you don't follow the rule, you will be dealt with and also be disqualified. Do you know that many pastors and ministers of God have been given yellow card? They have been warned several times. Take note of that by God. Through their conscience. They have been warned several times. Child of God, listen to me. Pastor, ministers, listen to me. They have been warned several times. Let me read it again. They have been warned several times, and still they will not listen. There are many pastors preaching on the altar that have been disqualified but still working as ministers of God. I think that is clear enough. We better pray. We see the favor of keeping the rule of the game and always want to do the work of God and teach people to keep doing the rule. So doing his rule will give you answer to all problems. Doing the rules of the game will give you solution to all problems. But the problem we have is to do the rule of the game. Instead of us to check ourselves very well, and we'll keep blaming God that, God, what have I done? God, what is wrong with me? God, what is my offense? God, what have I committed? Instead of them to search themselves. But let me tell you, I repeat again emphatically, that God is not to blame. Let me quickly have a break.